Marquise Grissom, and there was no doubt about that. And listen to the hand he gets from the crowd.
I'm just glad Bob Davidson wasn't here, because that might have been ruled a double. The ball did bounce back on the field. But there was no doubt about it. It was a bomb. Sosa 2 out of 2 with 2 homers. He has 65 now. And remember, he got Plunk in Chicago. The right-hander sets the pitch. Breaking ball. Good idea. He swung and missed it 0-1.
Yeah, he took a look at the Henderson fastball and where it wound up and decided that, discretion being the better part of valor, he would go to the curveball on the first pitch.
Who will have the lead at the end of today? Mark McGwire will face Randy Johnson a bit later on in St. Louis. No balls and a strike to Sammy. They are roaring in Milwaukee. Plunk to the belt now, the 0-1. Another breaking ball. He swung through it 0-2. So Sammy has to protect the plate. Two outs in the top of the 8th. Cubs with a 3-run lead. The stretch, the pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Sammy wants Jerry Davis to take a look at the baseball. It was indeed scuffed up, so it will leave play. Well, he's thrown a curveball by him and a fastball by him, and Plunk's best pitch is a fastball. I'm thinking he's going to throw it right in on his hands and try to throw it by him for strike 3.
1-2. Here it comes. 2 balls, 2 strikes. What will he bring to the dish here? We'll find out. The 2-2 to Sammy. It's inside. 3-2. 2 straight fastballs now. What does Hughes and Plunk?
We'll look in at Bobby Hughes as he hangs the curveball. Let's see if Plunk also hangs it.
3-2. Over his head. 3rd walk of the day for Sosa. The crowd boos. They wanted Sammy to reach for the fences one more time.
Well, he scored 3. He's been walked 3 times and hit 2 home runs. So he goes to the curveball, and this one just spins high over his head.
Well, he hung it.
He did.
You have to be
but in the 6th, he got one out over the plate and just crushed it to straightaway center field. It was a rocket shot over the head of Marquise Grissom.
And man, these homer-happy fans in Milwaukee certainly have gotten their money's worth. With Mark McGwire coming to town, with Sammy.
And oh, you just hope this isn't one of those moments that goes down in Cubs history. And we know what some of that history has been all about in the past few years.
All I can remember was the ball was hit to Brown, and Beck and everybody else thought it was over, and it popped away, and you just got that sickening feeling in your soul. You knew 2 runs had scored, and by the time the Cubs got the ball back into the infield and shocked the winning run and scored, and that's all she wrote.
Well, obviously with 2 outs, you know they're running, but for a moment it appeared that Jeremy Burnitz might have slowed down around 3rd base, but as the ball got away from Brant Brown, Burnitz, with good speed, was coming as hard as he could. He scored easily, and I got to tell you, the Cub fans here are just in a state of shock, and I know you at home feel the same way. A game you seemingly had won, and Rod Beck probably starting to walk off the mound thinking that he had saved number 50. He made the big pitch at 2-2. He didn't go to 3-2, so the runners were not going with the pitch. Obviously they were going when the ball was hit, and the Cub fans just almost sitting there in a stunned silence at the turn of events. This was a game that the Cubs had 7-0. The Brewers were doing nothing with Steve Traxel. It stayed that way till the 7th when Jeremy Burnitz led it off with a single. Turned into 4 runs that inning. They got a little closer with a run in the 8th, and they put 3 unearned runs on the board in the 9th inning.
What a way for the Brewers to finish out their home schedule with an amazing comeback win. It was 7-0, as Steve mentioned. They scored 4 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th, 3 in the 9th. A game that the Cubs had won. And Cub fans everywhere, you can just see, did I just see what just happened? Yes, you did. Unbelievable. The Cubs were looking at a half-game wild card lead, looking at sweeping the Brewers, looking to head down to Houston with a chance to maybe go up with a game and 3 to play, but that didn't happen.
And not only that, Chip, but the Cubs, with a win here, had their destiny in their own hands. If they win out, they win the wild card. I mean, it might have taken a final win in New York, but if they win out, they win the wild card. As it turns out now, the Cubs are going to need some help.
And that help will have to come in the form of the Montreal Expos, who, again, if you're looking for positives, have beaten New York 7 times in 11 outings. Dan, what's happening down on that field?
Well, everybody is cleared out of the dugout finally, you guys, and are on their way to the clubhouse, and in some cases Sammy and Jim Riggleman and maybe another player or two, the interview room. But as the players walked off the field, I mean, it was eyes to the dirt. Nobody's heads were up, totally devastated. And as Brant Brown came off the field, he was in tears walking into the Cubs locker and Cubs clubhouse, through the dugout and on in. And boy, what a terrible, terrible thing to happen to anybody. It's something that Brant Brown will never forget. Hopefully the Cubs can ease his pain a little bit by winning some of these games in Houston, but this is going to be very difficult for anybody to bounce back. And we will return with more from County Stadium here in Milwaukee right after this.
I think the most important feeding is the one that you start in the fall, so your lawn starts to look healthier in the spring, and consequently you need Scott's Winterizer. When I put down Winterizer in the fall, it allows us to develop a good strong root base, and it allows the lawn to endure the winter weather, and you get a real early greening. This grass is beautiful, thick, deep green. People will stop by and say, "How'd you do that?" Scott's Winterizer gives the grass a kickstart in the fall and makes it really look great in the spring.
With days scheduled down to the minute, no one has time to wait for prescription refills. But with Walgreens' new 24-hour touch-tone pre-fill system, your refills are pre-filled. Just dial the number on your prescription bottle and set your pickup time, and keep your day right on schedule.
Your prescription will be ready at 6:45.
Refills that are ready when you are, only at Walgreens.
3 runs for Milwaukee in the bottom of the 9th inning. A dropped fly ball in left. Jim Riggleman, the Cubs skipper, is standing by in the interview room. Let's join him for his post-game comments.
Yeah, I talked to Brant. You know, I feel so bad for Brant right now because he's agonizing. You know, Brant Brown wants us to win this thing as bad as anybody in that room. He's a great competitor, and we're not in a position we're in right now competing for this wild card position if it's not for Brant Brown. Brant, you know, he took over for Lance when Lance got hurt and just did a great job. And you know, he's a very talented athlete. It's, you know, you get in a time of day. I don't make excuses for anybody, but you get that time of day sometimes, and it's just tough to catch a fly ball out there. You know, it's shadows and the ball kind of knuckling out there at him and all that, and it got away from him. You know, as I say, I wish there was something I could say to make it better for Brant right now, but he wants it so bad. That's why it's going to hurt him so bad.
Jim, did he say it was due more to the sun or the shadows?
No, Brant, you know, he's not making any excuses. He missed the ball. He's not saying anything. He just, you know, he's just like the rest of our ball club. We're agonizing right now. You know, it was a tough loss. We win together and we lose together, and we got a tough challenge ahead of us now in Houston. But you know what? When we if we win that ball game today, we go to Houston. We got to win the ball game Friday. We still got to win the ball game Friday. You know, I'm responsible for the wins and losses, and you know, there's a lot of things I could have done differently in the ball game. So certainly, you know, that's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at what happened there at the end.
Jim, when you talk about
Well, Jim Riggleman's a stand-up guy. So is Brant Brown. And it's still just a shocking turn of events. That's all you can say. 8-7 our final score. Our Budweiser plays of the game. Sammy Sosa ties Mark McGwire with 2 home runs today. 1 to right, 1 to straightaway center. His 64th, his 65th of the year. The Cubs were enjoying a 7-0 lead, cruising right along. And then disaster struck in the last 3 innings of this ball game. The Cubs do have to go out and win in Houston Friday. They do have to win Saturday. They do have to win Sunday. But now if New York wins tonight, they don't hold their fate in their own hands. That's the big difference in today's turnaround. A wild card game. Cubs a half game back behind New York. The Giants 2.5 games back, and they are winning today 4-1. The Expos and Mets will battle a little bit later on. Bobby Jones against Carl Pavano. We're back at it Friday from the Astrodome. The Cubs and the Astros battle at 7 o'clock. It'll be Kevin Tampany once again going for his 20th win of the year. Jose Lima will go for the Astros. Folks, an absolutely crushing defeat in Milwaukee. 8-7 is your final score. We'll have more as the 10th inning show will continue right here on WGN after this time out.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN. Brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. The new Dodge. From cars to minivans to trucks, it's about change. The new Dodge. Ameritech. In a world of technology, people make the difference. Pepsi. Generation Next. ComEd, the official electric company of the Chicago Cubs. ComEd, what do you do with your power? And by Southwest Airlines, offering low fares and frequent flights. Southwest Airlines, the official airline of the Chicago Cubs.
Shannon Doherty, Holly Marie Combs, Alyssa Milano, Charm.
Premiering Wednesday, October 7th on WGN.
Sometimes it's the smallest decisions that could change your life forever.
Sometimes you don't know you have a choice
I know you want me to follow in your footsteps, but I just can't.
until you make one.
What are you doing here?
This is where I'm going.
That is so unbelievable.
Freedom comes when you learn to let it go. Creation comes when you learn to say no.
Do you think that my coming here was a bad idea, too?
Felicity.
Premiering Tuesday night at 8 on WGN.
Dawson's Creek moves to a new night.
Dawson's Creek moves to Wednesday.
A special event featuring 2 of the most watched episodes from the premiere season of Dawson's Creek.
Don't! Oh my God!
And previews from all new episodes.
Welcome to the 10th inning show from Milwaukee and County Stadium. With Steve Stone, Chip Carey, 8-7 your final score. The Milwaukee Brewers come from behind in the 9th inning with 3 to steal this game on the dropped fly ball by Brant Brown. And Stoney, this is my first year with the Cubs. You've been here a lot longer than I have. Where does this heartbreaking loss rank? This has got to be an unbelievable, sickening feeling everywhere for Cub fans.
Well, Chip, I have to go back to the same feeling I had when the ball went through the legs of Leon Durham, when the ball went out of the ballpark off the bat of Steve Garvey against Lee Smith. And the feelings that you had at that point, your heart has to go out to Brant Brown, who's really had a magnificent year for the Cubs this year. Unfortunately, today, he dropped the ball in what for the Cubs was the biggest ball game of the year. The only advantage you have is there's still 3 games left. They're in Houston. Yes, it's a tough place to win. However, the Mets are going to be in Atlanta. And maybe the Mets will lose this evening to Montreal. I mean, nobody thought Montreal would beat them last night. If the Mets do lose tonight, then the Cubs will be tied in the wild card. Again, you have to look at San Francisco because right now they're just 1 loss in back of the Cubs. They're winning their ball game today. So the only advantage you have, and make no mistake about it, this is a crushing defeat for the Cubs, but the only advantage you have is there's still 3 games left. And still, as we've seen this year, Chip, anything can happen as long as you have a team with the heart and the soul of the Chicago Cubs, because they've battled back from so much adversity this year that you have to say that this team is not done yet, not by a long shot.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say to you. That's the one characteristic of this ball club all year. They have battled back from all kinds of adversity all season long. But what's it like in that locker room for the fans who obviously live and die with the play of this ball club? What's that like as a player after a game is practically won and you practically give it away?
Well, right now it's very tough in that locker room because to a man, everybody in the Cubs thought that they had won a very big ball game here and taken a half-game lead in the wild card. The reality of it is when you leave the field and realize that you're a half game back in the wild card, You just have to tell yourself, look, what's done is done. There's nothing that anybody can do about this. I think the team will rally around Brant Brown. I think they will go to Houston, obviously disappointed with the occurrences of today. You just have to rededicate yourself to sweeping the Astros in Houston. And that's a team that probably doesn't have a whole lot to play for, because I don't think they're going to wind up with the best record in the league. And I'm not saying that they're going to meet that series with any less intensity, but you're not going to see their starting pitchers go complete games there. You're going to probably see them go 5 innings. The Cubs have their best at this point, Kevin Tapani, going to the mound on Friday night. There is an off day tomorrow for this team to regroup, catch their breath, forget about what happened here today. They know that they let one get away. They know that this was a crushing loss for them. However, when they come out on Friday, I would expect that anything that happened before will have no bearing on what happens Friday night in the Astrodome.
Well, it is a cliche, but it's such a well-used and well-worn expression. That's why it's a cliche. That's the great thing about baseball. There is a tomorrow, and certainly while the Cubs will have an off day tomorrow, they've got 3 games left. They've just got to go win ball games, as Jim Riggleman said in his press conference a little bit earlier. In fact, the skipper was downstairs. He just finished up. We expect to hear from Sammy Sosa on the day, and that's what makes this game so sad for the Cubs. On a day when Sammy Sosa tied Mark McGwire, the Cubs had the big lead, 7-0. They were cruising right along, and then in the 7th inning on, it was all Milwaukee.
Well, the Cubs have not had the ability to put teams away, and yes, you can look at the one play that obviously turned around the ball game, the last play of the game, but if you look before that, the Cubs 7-0 lead. They let this team get back to 7-5 before Brant Brown dropped that ball, and so the Cubs were unable to put away the Brewers, and the Brewers, you have to give them credit. They kept on fighting.
What did you see?
So Sammy Sosa in the press conference room. Let's join him.
Everybody that was in the ballpark know what happened. I think that myself, Brown has been with us all year long. He's been doing a great job, and what happened to Brown today can happen to anybody that play this game. And I think that he have a lot of support for our team. And what will happen today, we haven't give up yet. We have another 3 games to go, and what we need to do is just forget about it today and keep going.
Sammy, up until this year, you only really saw the Brewer pitching staff in interleague play last year. Do you have any explanation as to your great success against this Brewer pitching staff this year?
Can you explain your great success against the Brewers pitching staff this year?
Well, I have to say, this is my lucky team. And, I think that, whatever been happening with the Brewer, how can I explain to you? I have to say, I was struggling. And now, I came back today, and I feel real great today. And, hey, it's part of the game, buddy.
If you can give back Homer 64 and 65 and trade for the win, would you do that?
Definitely. Everybody know that what been happening to me, it is great, but on the other side, I care about win. I care about the team, and our situation right now is that, I have to say that we played great today, no matter what happened in the last inning. And for the last 3 games in Houston, we just are going to decide if we're going to go to the playoff, yes or no.
Have you ever played in a game that featured so many emotions, the highs of hitting 64 and 65, and then the incredible lows of losing a game that you guys basically should have won?
Can you describe the highs and lows of hitting the 2 homers and losing a game you should have won?
Well, the high is that first time I hit 65, and the low is that the way we lost that game, and everybody know that everybody play this game don't want to make a mistake, but as a human being, as a person, nobody's perfect.
Right. Sammy, yesterday you said you were conceding the home run race to Mark. How do you feel about it now?
Yesterday you said you were conceding a home run race to Mark. How do you feel about that now?
It's still hard, that feeling for Mark. I think that he's going to finish right in front of me. For me, it's no make no different. If I finish first, I will, but if I finish last, it no make no different for me. I think that I have another thing to thinking about it, and I have another thing to do. It is a playoff.
Right here in front.
Oh, could you explain what it was like connecting with those home run balls? Did you know those were home runs when you hit them?
Can you talk about the 2 home runs?
Well, first I had to talking about, 0 for 20 first. And I'm sorry. Let's make it 22. I had to say that as a person, as a player, after you come 0 for 21 and have a game that I have today, it's not because I hit in 2 home runs, it's because of the way that I played today. I had 3 base on ball and that 2 home run that I hit, and that right there, it is a good sign. I feel great today. Today I was real concentration at the home plate, and I was really be patient. And that's what, when I'm like that, I have more opportunity, more chances to make much better contact.
Sammy, can you talk a little bit about the 2 at-bats, please? Talk about the pitches you hit and just a little bit of explanation about each at-bat.
Can you talk about the 2 home run at-bats, what type of pitches you were hitting?
Well, those 2 are bad. That when I hit a home run, the first 2 time, he walked me, and then the 3rd time, I was up there and he threw me a few pitches out of strike zone, and I just took, and then he came with a fastball a little bit inside, and I have a good contact, go to right field with that one. And the second one, he threw me a lot of breaking pitch in and out, and I fight for that at bat. He got me 2 strikes right away, but I came back and relaxed and see good pitches, and then he threw me a fastball.
George. Sammy, have you talked to anybody about getting the ball back that the guy caught for 64? Have you been contacted yet?
Have you talked to the guy who caught 64 about getting the ball back?
No, but I had 65.
Well, Sammy Sosa with a smile on a day that's very tough to smile on for Cubs fans. 8-7. Milwaukee scores 8 unanswered runs in the last 3 innings, and the Cubs fall a half game behind the Mets in the wild card. Stay tuned as our 10th inning show continues. We will check out the highlights from today's game at County Stadium. You saw